Thank you for joining us. This is Michael Mars. And recently we had the chance to get behind the wheel of the new 2015 Dodge Challenger. Had a chance to make some road laps as well as make a couple of passes on the drag strip, but we also took out a few minutes to talk with Tom Kuniskis, President and CEO of Dodge and SRT.
Okay, Tim. One thing that I'm really impressed with, particularly out here driving the new Challenger, is the fact that Dodge is really taking on this performance persona. They're really looking at the performance vehicles like they did back in the early 70s and late 60s. From your perspective, what does that performance aspect mean to the company and to you?
Well, to us as a brand, it's obviously a great positioning for Dodge. It's a way for us to differentiate us from everyone else out in the market. Right now, you got so many vehicles out there available, so many choices. People are looking for something that breaks free from that and says something about themselves and make a statement. Performance cars have always made a statement, and now the performance is back bigger and better than it's ever been, all enabled by technology.
And you actually use the term muscle car whenever you start talking about these vehicles. Obviously, you're real impassioned about it, but nobody else seems to be using that term right now. Is that part of your strategy, just to differentiate, or because that's what this is a muscle car?
It's absolutely part of the strategy. We chose that word on purpose because that's exactly what we're dealing with here. If you think back to the original advent of the muscle car started with an everyday, usable, livable car that somebody decided to put a lot more horsepower in, and it became the muscle car. It's exactly what we have today. We don't have a sports car with the Challenger. We don't have a pony car with the Challenger. Although it can act as those things, what it does first and foremost, it serves as an everyday vehicle that just happens to be really fast and really fun to drive. It is the definition of a muscle car.
Absolutely. The street and strip concept, we got to drive the new Challenger out here to the track. Right now we're at the track getting a chance to drive them on a road course, and we're actually going to have a quarter-mile chance here in a few minutes. And it does fit that criteria of a muscle car being a street strip car. So we're out here driving the new Challenger, and obviously we've got several different options on it. We've got the V6 all the way up to the new Hellcat. Can you expand on that a little bit?
So first off, you mentioned the V6 car. The V6 car, I call it the gateway car, the gateway to the muscle cars, because you now have a 300 horsepower V6 that has 0 to 60 performance of 6 seconds. It does what a V8 used to do not too many years ago, and returns 30 miles per gallon at the same time. So that sets the benchmark at the entry-level position of the segment. So obviously the upper end is going to go through the stratosphere. And now the new benchmark is 700 horsepower with the Hellcat. And that's actually a livable, drivable car that you can use as your main transportation every day, enabled by technology. 5 years ago, we launched the Challenger. We launched it with 425 horsepower. No mistake, it was exactly aligned with what the 426 put out in 1970, the Holy Grail car. So we matched it exactly. We could have made it 430, we could have made it 420, we made it 425. And it got 19 miles per the gallon. Now, 700 horsepower gets 20 miles per the gallon. So now the technology has enabled us to keep moving the bar and making the car better in the process.
That's pretty impressive. That's very impressive. Need to get back to running on the track, so I want to thank you again for taking the time to talk to us real briefly, and good luck.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank you again for joining us. And if you get a chance to drive one of these really awesome vehicles, we do highly recommend it. But we also suggest you learn how to use the launch control, or else you'll be like us. Second pass on the drag strip, we were literally up in smoke with the Hellcat engine. So give it a ride, and by all means, travel safe.